Hello everyone, this is Some Old Man. Back again, a day late, a dollar short. No, actually, last night I had planned to go ahead and record a video about grinding coffee, or roasting your own coffee. I'll get to it. I'm going to have to because I'm just about out of coffee grounds. I need some. But that comes to today's video. It's too hot. Today, as you can see, I'm working up in the office. It's still not complete. I've got a door to hang and a couple other things before it's just about ready. I'll get to it this weekend, probably do a little recording on it. But I've noticed that the air conditioning isn't working too well. I would go ahead and turn it on in the morning when I come up here, and it seemed to turn on, and it would just get warmer and warmer through the day. I finally called the air conditioner maintenance folks out yesterday, and they came right out. Good people. And he crawled up into the attic and tested it, and after a little while he came down and told me that my electric motor is out. The fan that pushes the air around. So, although the air conditioner was running, nothing was getting pushed. And then the air conditioner would turn off because it didn't want to overload. Order the part, which of course is not something they keep in stock because those things don't go out that quickly. And he's going to replace it with a better one than was the original that was put in when the house was built 20 years ago. And we'll be good to go. But in the meantime, it's too hot. Right now it's probably about 79, and it'll be getting up to the low 80s. Now, admittedly, I do get some circulation of cooler air from downstairs. The air conditioner down there works fine, but there's a separate unit for the upstairs. So it doesn't get too unreasonable, and I don't know if you can hear it, but I've got a big old fan in the background and a smaller fan on the table just down from me. So there is some air movement. It isn't too bad, but it is too hot. It's also too hot outside. Even though there's no rain coming down, I could work outside, and I do go outside occasionally in the garden for short periods, to check things, maybe pick some vegetables. But it's really too hot to go out and enjoy working for an extended period. I'll probably end up doing it here later this month or early next month because I do need to get on those projects. But it's too hot to enjoy doing it. So instead I thought I'd ramble on here for a little bit and discuss other things. And one thing that I was compiling a list, and my list was potential disasters. Now, as part of my presentations, talk about preparedness. And when I first got into the prepping thing, I was thinking, we've got to be prepared if we have a hurricane or a storm and the electricity goes out. We want to be able to, have some candles, have flashlights so we can get around and do something. Maybe even a little pull out our camp stove so we can cook some food if our power's out for a couple days. And it kind of built from there. Now, we generally don't have earthquakes in this part of the country, but I came from California, where earthquakes were almost not an everyday occurrence, but yearly for certain. They would have at least one significant, noticeable earthquake. And as anybody who pays attention to things knows, that sooner or later they're going to have a real earthquake out there, and there's going to be problems. So, if you live in that country, you want to be prepared. But what else can go wrong? You could lose your job, especially in this economy. A lot of people are unemployed. Yes, for the last year, there's been a lot of extra support from the government, but guess what? That isn't going to last forever. We can't afford it. The national debt has always been going up, but this last 10 years has gone crazy. And this year it's going to get worse. We are about to go in to some extreme inflation because of the spending. It's already showing its signs. If you don't already have a mortgage on your house, it's going to get harder and harder to get one. So, I hope you're in a good position financially. Because sooner or later, your dollar is not going to be worth anything. And another problem, supply chain disruptions. We've already seen some of this. Started last year with COVID. Started with the toilet paper. But it seems like a lot of things are getting that way. Wood, for instance, is one that I hear about in the news all the time. The price spiked when, because of COVID again, the supply chain was disrupted. It's coming back because now there's oversupply because people aren't buying it because the price was so high. It's supply and demand. But that's just an example. We're going to see that all over the place. And has anybody mentioned political instability? Take a look at some of the countries elsewhere in the world. South Africa is one I heard in the news recently. Cuba. We've got a lot of protests in those countries. Speaking of protests, haven't we had some of the riots and stuff like that here in the last year, right here in the United States? I don't know about where you live, but where I live, so far it's okay. But if it comes to where you live, if it comes to where I live, what are you going to do? I don't want to be anywhere near this stuff, but what are you going to do if it comes to your neighborhood? Are you prepared? All this disruption around the world, we could even see a war. Some of the stuff that's going down near the South China Sea, maybe around the not Panama Canal, but the Arabian Peninsula and such, it's scary what could happen. I don't know how war would affect us back here at home, but it will have an effect. Are you prepared? Have you got your supplies that you could survive, not just for a week? That would be just a given. But a month, 3 months, a year would be nice. Now, there are other things besides all these societal things that I mentioned that could go wrong. We've got pollution, and we've got the pandemic that we've just experienced that could get worse again. These are other problems that affect our health. But how about things like the weird weather we've been having? Now, you can call it global warming if you want, but you know what? You look at some of the different temperature maps, and I've looked at one here in the last few days that does show that the out west and in the northwest and a little bit to the north, the weather is much hotter than average. But down on the southeast and east coast, a lot of it's cooler than average. So it's not really necessarily just global warming. It's just a mix-up of the normal weather patterns. You can blame it on man-made climate change or not. I have a hard time believing that what we do all by itself has that much of an effect. I'm not saying that it doesn't have any effect, because it probably has some, but I don't think we're doing it all. We're having some issues with the solar cycle. And so far, the cycle 25, which is the cycle that we're in, looks very much like cycle 24 as far as the number of sunspots. Cycle 24 ended up with about 1/3 the sunspots of a active sunspot cycle. Cycle 19 was one I saw in a video was considered to be an active cycle, and by the chart that they showed, it was about 1/3. Other things, earthquakes. There have been more earthquakes reported. Oh, they're not really emphasizing them in the news, but they're out there. Don't know if it means anything, but always remember, like I said, California is due for a big one. And come to think of it, so is the Northwest in the United States, Seattle, Portland. If they get the Cascadia subduction zone let loose, and it's probably at least as likely as the San Andreas, it'll cause as big or bigger problems. Just something to think about. Something to give you sweet dreams. And of course, there's all the things, and I talked about it here 2 or 3 episodes ago. We could have the massive coronal mass ejections, which will cause all sorts of problems. Who knows? It's just something to ponder on a day when it's too hot to do anything. This is some old man giving you something to think about. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. Leave me a comment. Tell me what if I think I'm full of it. And hit the bell icon so you'll get a notification of the next one. And with that, I'm going to turn off the camera and say, signing off.